What's going on, people? How y'all feeling? It's BT doing a pretty late and unexpected podcast. I'm sorry, I'm in my little late night unexpected flow of getting these thoughts out there. Kind of been quiet with the podcast for a few weeks, so I thought I'd come back and bring it a little different and do some topics that have been kind of sitting in the queue for a while. A lot is going on in the sports industry. I've kind of stepped back for a little bit and just kind of let a lot of things happen and just kind of picked the right time. I'm doing the podcast this late, oddly enough, because I wanted to wait for the Game 7 matchup between Toronto and Indiana to finish. So I'll save that topic for somewhere in the right time, and then we'll just kind of let it all flow together. So the first topic I'll go ahead and jump into, since it's come and gone and mostly consumed a good majority of the weekend, was the NFL draft. A lot of teams got who they wanted. A lot of players went where they belonged, and there are going to be a lot of folks who could possibly be just on the team for right now and could be eventually on the practice squad in a few weeks. So we'll just kind of see how it all plays out. I'm not going to really give a rundown and a spiel on every single team, solely because 32 teams and 32 grades will be here all night. But to kind of give it in a brief scenario, I know from my personal team, I'm kind of going to be biased and selfish. I think it's amazing that Carolina made sure that they found someone who's going to be that cornerback to replace Josh Norman. So they drafted not one, not two, but three cornerbacks in the draft in the second, third, and the fifth round. So hopefully between one of those three guys, they'll make a mark on the league and possibly get themselves, I don't want to say into Josh Norman status, but into being a good corner and a possible shutdown corner. So we'll see how it goes. They were graded with a C. I don't really have any disagreements with that. As far as all the other teams in our division, everyone else graded better than us. Tampa Bay got an A. They actually got quite a bit of action. They got a kicker, outside linebacker, cornerback, two cornerbacks, an offensive tackle, linebacker, and a fullback. So shout out to Tampa Bay. That could be the factor of confirming that this might be their year. We'll see what happens. Trying to get some other teams pulled up while I'm looking at these breakdowns. So you have in the NFC North, Green Bay, they came out with a B. Looks like Minnesota came out with the A-, Chicago B+. Detroit always does it wrong, of course, and they didn't fail this year. First year they didn't get a wide receiver, so that's a shocker. Kind of spinning off from that. Still wondering what his status is with Calvin Johnson, if he's legitimately going to retire or if he's contemplating a blind comeback and we don't know it yet. So keep your eyes open for that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the topics that I already had that I was supposed to get into and I never got to. And then I'll break down a few new topics that have hit since last doing my podcast. So a few teams got swept in the playoffs. The Memphis Grizzlies got swept by San Antonio. A lot of people didn't even know that they won those 4 games. It happened that fast. Worst comparison, but honest assessment, it was like watching First 48 in slow motion. The Pistons brought a pretty good performance for their first time in the playoffs in a while, but Cleveland is Cleveland, and yeah, they're Cleveland. Golden State pulled off the dominant victory against Houston with a lot of what I call the James Harden Olay defense, so that kind of went the way it did. Big news, but not surprise. After the game between the Lakers and Utah, Byron Scott got fired. Who didn't see that coming? If you didn't, something's wrong. But yeah, he got let go, and the stories kind of circulated beforehand, but I kind of saw it before it even happened, that that Luke Walton was going to be the next guy in line. So sure enough, they put Luke Walton in that position. He led Golden State to a pretty good early start of breaking the record with Chicago. So I saw that one kind of from a mile away. And I'm kind of rushing through my topics today because I'm a little tired. No, not even that I'm a little tired. I won't even use that excuse. The honest truth is it's a lot going on, but life is life and we just got to keep moving on. There seems to be this big uproar of concern as to why coaches like Mark Jackson don't get a chance. Mark Jackson pretty much built the foundation of where Golden State is now, and it's kind of been a fluctuation of excitement behind that team, but then it's also kind of left him, in so many words, being salty and power mouth, and he's made it clear every time he's commentated a Golden State game, which I think is coincidental that they do that. But I see him coaching a team. It's a matter of what team is going to work for him being able to coach. If I'm not mistaken, New York has made their decision on a coach. I can't think of the coach name right offhand. But I can tell you now it's not going to be anybody who can come in and change anything. It's going to be someone who Phil Jackson can run. Let me get that story, because if I'm not mistaken, they did pick a coach. There was talk that they thought that Derek Fisher was going to be up for the position in LA. That didn't make any sense, because if they already saw that he really wasn't doing a lot in if they saw that he wasn't doing a lot in New York, it was very unlikely he was going to get the job in LA. But right now their coach is Kurt Rambis. We'll see what happens. Phil, let's see, Patrick when he gets interviewed the coach. No, not all right. And I guess this kind of goes back to the story again, because Tyronn Lue happened to just get the position based on David Black getting let go, but David Black coincidentally is up for the same position. David Blatt and both Patrick Ewing are trying to go for the vacancy in Sacramento, so keep your eyes on that. I really hope Patrick Ewing gets it, but something tells me he's not. They're gonna find some way. Just keep track and keep an understanding of how sports works is the best thing I can tell you with that. But I truly don't see him coaching that team. That's just my personal intake. Let's see. Curry was trying to play through injury. He made it. He's right now out for, they said, 2 weeks. He's coming near the end of that process, because he could possibly be playing at the latest game 3 for Golden State, because game 1 pretty much was dominated. They played pretty good today against Portland, who, by the way, beat a Blakeless and Chris Paul-less, words I'll never use on Words of Friends, Clippers team, who pretty much had to figure out where to get their offense from, because they didn't have like a source or a place to go to get that scoring factor. So the Clippers, I don't know, it's almost like you want to call it the curse of the Clippers, because that's pretty much what it feels like, but it's also on just not having stars or having players in place to step up and say, hey, I'm going to do my part in helping this team get through that hump. Jamal Crawford can score all the points he wants. DeAndre Jordan is going to miss all the free throws he wants. So that just kind of balance all of that out. And I'm trying to think what other crazy topics happen. Don't want to forget about the Spurs scoring 43 in the first quarter. I'm sorry, let me repeat that. 43 points in the first quarter for the Spurs against Oklahoma City. There really wasn't much you could do to stop after that point. I mean, they had the game locked up from the jump. As soon as Kawhi Leonard went in for the opening dunk, that was kind of the staple of them just trying to make it clear, like, hey, we really want to make a run at this title. So they have made their point clear. Cleveland and Atlanta plays tomorrow. Atlanta was able to beat Boston in 6 games, 4-2. And finally, before I forget, because I probably will, Toronto finally got over the first round quarterfinal hump, and they beat Indiana. I don't know the exact score. I want to say 89-86. I might be kind of calling that off a blind whim, but they went ahead and got that win out of the way. So now it's on to, my brain cells are they literally just left me. Blah, 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 blah. Who do they play? I should know this information. It's not the Cavs. They are playing. Like, my brain just left, and I just don't like that. When all else fails and your brain cells just don't come back. You can put it all on me. We have. Alright, thank you. So inappropriate that I did that. The Raptors will be going up against the Heat, so that should be a pretty intriguing matchup. I'm not going to say eventful because I don't know. It's a matter of it just comes down to what Heat team you see as well as what Raptors team you see. So we'll keep our eyes open for that matchup as well. Let me see if I forgot anything. The only thing I didn't talk about, because there's not much that needs to be said about it. James Harden is the most one-sided or one-dimensional player you'll ever see in basketball. He's great on offense, can score at will, can put bad buckets down with ease. But on defense, it's like it's a ghost. I mean, literally, he's the king of Olay. Olay, just let him go. Just go ahead. You want to score? Go ahead. I'm not going to touch. I'm not even going to put a hand out to look like I'm playing defense. It's already talks in the works of whether Dwight Howard's going to stay. As a Rockets fan, good riddance. If you want to go, please go. It's no point in you staying if you're not interested in playing and your heart's not even into it. His smart move will probably be to go back where he actually had a chance of dominating, and that was in Orlando. It's just coming down to who will be coaching in Orlando to handle him and his prima donna antics, let alone be able to put the ball in his hand. So we'll keep our eyes posted on that story as well. I think I got everything in the sports world so far. I've been kind of dodging hockey because it's so much that's been going on. Baseball has started kind of getting this little treading of action going on. The local sports update, Richmond Kickers, got a win yesterday, so shouts and props to them. And I believe I am good to go. So if you are a listener or have been listening, if you never heard enough from me, you are appreciated. Thank you for all the time that you put into checking out the show. Feedback, suggestions are always recommended. I am going to possibly be blending it in again and doing my random posts of podcasts that are not sports related. I've kind of had to just take time to just get some thoughts back on paper. So that's kind of been what slowed me down from really getting my podcast off the ground the way I wanted to. So I'm not using any excuses or any stories or anything to kind of make it like I can't do it. I've just not been doing it, and I'm pushing to get the ball rolling with that again. So we'll see how it goes. But in the meantime, in between time, I hope you all stay good. I'm sharing this with the group, so those of you who are in the sports group, I want feedback. I know that was a loud I want feedback, but in all seriousness, I really would like feedback and suggestions and ways of making this show better. So until next time, this is BT signing out. If you have not already followed, on Instagram, it's Bright Podcast. On Twitter and all other social media, it's Bright82. I am there. I am doing what I do, and I am doing it well, and just making what I love become a passion. So hit me up, bring your thoughts, present it as is. I ain't scared. But as always, take it easy. I'm out. Peace.